Cindy Harrison, host of Cre8this, and welcome to another Friday night. We are going to make a gift box tonight. We're going to start with a paper mache box. You can get them from Hobby Lobby, Walmart, or someplace like that. It's just a small one, about 3 inches by 2 inches. It's not very big, and it makes a nice little box for, like a necklace, earrings, probably not a gift tag, like a credit card kind of thing, but if you have a paper gift certificate or something like that, or money. I'm going to take the cover, the thing off the bottom here, because when we paint this, we don't want that sticker on there. There you go. So much for pre-planning. What we're going to do tonight requires, obviously, a surface like this box. It requires decorative napkins and a couple brushes, some metallic paint, white paint, some, what do they call these, Curio knobs, and some decoupage, and maybe some lace and glue. You can use whatever you have at home. Obviously, you want to pick a paint that matches your napkins. I chose these napkins which have white in the background. So what you're going to do with that is make sure that you base coat your project with white paint. White napkins tend to disappear. So whatever you're showing on whatever is on your background will then be the color of your piece, because the white napkin becomes transparent. So let's go and do that. I always wake up my brush in the water, but I take all the water out. And then we go ahead and just slap some paint on. Try not to get it all over yourself. Wear an old shirt, an apron, something like that. I'm going to try not to get it too thick on the edge. If you're painting, I don't rub against the edge like that because it makes ridges. So I just try to go toward the edge. We're trying not to get it too thick at the top where the lid comes over, because then the lid might not fit. So you have to make sure you have a lot of room there. The paint I'm using is called Snow White. It's DecoArt Americana paint. And you can find that in your local hobby stores. If not, let me know and I'll let you know where you can get it. You can paint the bottom, as I said. That's why we removed the sticker. Get that in all the ridges. And it's not going to be a solid coat. You're going, I don't know if you can tell, but you can see some of the background coming through, and that's okay. Let's put that somewhere where it can dry. And we're going to do the same on the top. Now this on the top, I want a little bit more solid in coverage, because we're going to do a technique on here that's going to be really cool. Just the top part, not the edges. And I did make a hole in the center because that's where I'm going to put the Curio knob when we're done. So put that in there. And then what I'm going to do is picked up some paint. I really like this napkin, so I picked up some paint that matched this napkin, and I'm going to do that around the edge here. So be careful, bring it up and bring it down so it's not clumping on the top or on the bottom for that matter. Try not to make any lumps. This goes on pretty much in one coat. This color. Some of the darker colors do that, which is really great. Okay, I'm gonna stick that on here to dry. Okay, let's look at this. That's almost dry. While that's finishing drying, napkin, decoupaging with napkins or napkin art. Oops, move that way. So most napkins are multi-layered. You know, they call them 2-ply, 3-ply. So what you have to do is go over here and you need to take the plies off. So I have 1 ply. If you notice, this is still quite white compared to that, right? Which means there's a 2nd ply there I need to release before I can decoupage. So let me try and see if I can pull it apart. The trick of this is, if you can't pull it apart, take 2 pieces of masking tape or any kind of tape, Scotch tape. This is Scotch tape. I roll it around itself so I have it on my fingers. I go to a piece of my napkin and I put it on this corner like that, and then I put it on this corner like that, and then see how it pulls it apart? Right? Easy peasy. And you can throw that away and continue to pull this apart. This one you got to be a little more careful on because you will tear your napkin. Is that a bad thing? No. But I like to tear my napkin because on purpose, because I want to, and not have it do it accidentally as I'm tearing the layers apart. So as you can tell, the color is darker than it is here. And that's how I knew that there was another ply that needed to go away. And there's a lot of sources for really nice napkins. I tend to go, I don't know if you have Christmas tree shop in your area, or Home Goods, or Tuesday mornings. Those shops have a lot of nice things. So here's my napkin now ready to decoupage. So what I'm going to do is decide what elements of this napkin I want on my piece. Do I want to use the flowers? And if so, remember, you've got that thickness of the lid that's going to come down over this. So you want to not put your design too high up on that. We can go sideways. So I'm going to start tearing my napkin deliberately. And we have this little butterfly here too I don't want to lose sight of. But I'm going to, and I like that it has splashes of gold in it. And that makes me happy as well. So then I'll do this one here, and we can even tear the little butterfly out. And if you don't want the edges of your piece, some of them have decorative edging that would then be very distinct that it had that gold on the edging. We can take that off. So I'm going to take an old scruffy brush, one that you don't care so much about. And I use the decoupage, I don't know if you can see this, I use the decoupage for napkins because the formula is better suited with a napkin. I find that the regular matte decoupage used with the napkin, after you brush over it, maybe the 2nd time, it starts tearing the napkin. It's too much moisture. But this one here is not that way at all. I put some decoupage on my piece. And now I'm going to put this on here. You can put it over and you can put it under. And you can bring it over the edge. And on the opposite side, I'm going to put these flowers. So let's put some decoupage on that. And you can decoupage almost any surface, glass, wood, paper mache in this case, styrofoam ball even. If you have any questions at any time, you can put them in the comments section or you can email me. I'm going to stick my little butterfly This is what's nice is when there's a piece of a white area that you want to cover, you can go right over that. And some of your other background will show through, but it's okay. So you can create all the lovely designs you want. Let's see.
Hey, Cindy.
Hey, Melissa.
I just want to let you know you're doing great. You have a number of people watching, about 6 or 7 people popping in and out. And your friend Janet says hello.
Hello.
And you've been answering, doing great with the comments and telling everybody what you're doing.
And by the way, the woman behind the voice is Melissa Reyes, my bestie, my producer, my marketing personality. She is everything. Okay, so I'm going to go and just keep putting layers on here. I love these colors though. I really do love these colors. And you can add as many layers as you want. And as it starts to dry, then you can start taking some of that color off, excess paper off. And because there is white in the napkin, if you have a white spot here and there, it's not the end of the world because you have white on your palette. Your palette being the napkin. That's your inspiration, that's your palette. We don't want it too thick on the top part because then we won't be able to get our lid back on. And let's put the butterfly on the bottom. So that's my little cup. Now we need to let that dry. Let's go back to our lid. Now the fun thing about this, what we're going to do is with that darker value, we're going to create kind of a lacy effect on the top of our lid. Some of this. And the way I'm going to do that is take a piece of tulle, T-U-L-L-E. It's that veil kind of stuff. And I'm going to place that over my surface. Now I'm going to take a deerfoot brush and I'm going to load it, bring that over here, load it in some of that paint, but I'm going to pounce it out here so that it's very light on my brush. I don't have a lot on my brush. And then I'm going to start pouncing over my surface. Try to get all of it, but you don't want globs of paint. So don't go right from there to here because it'll bleed underneath your tool. Anybody can do this. This is also something you can do with your kids, or if you're a school teacher, do it with your class. And if you don't have a deerfoot brush, you can use a sponge. Just take a piece of sponge, make sure though it's not very damp. You want it to be relatively dry and you want to make sure they pounce all the paint out. Let's take this off and see what mess we made. See how that made a mesh kind of doily look? Now I can do one of two things. I can give it a doily edge, but I'm thinking not for this time around. I'm not going to do that. These cute little Curio knobs are for like scrapbooking or mixed media.
Janet complimented your nails, Cindy.
Oh,
they do look really good today.
Not anymore. I'm getting paint all over them.
And it looks like Kathy Vincent has joined us tonight.
Oh, hi, Kathy. Okay, so I'm going to stick that up in here for now. And I can always undo it later. So if I just put that on here like this, screw that in here, and see how it's just a nice little handle that we can lift our box off with. Now, this is going to be something else. I have this beautiful lace I found at Joanne Fabrics. Joanne has an online store as well. And anywhere that sells lace, if I put this around here, look how beautiful that is. So I'm going to probably get some glue, tacky glue, quick dry. I love this. The glue is always ready for you to use. You just pull the cover off. Isn't that cool? I think it's cool. So I'm going to add it just on the top for right now because it's kind of narrow. So put that there, kind of hold it down a little bit, push that in, put it up to the edge because you want that to be at the edge of there. At least that's where I want it. Always use glue that you know is going to dry clear when it's done. Kind of hold this taut here, and then when you push it down, it automatically will do what you want it to do and behave.
Great question.
Sure.
Where'd you get that glue?
Michael's. It's Aleene's Quick Dry Tacky Glue. So, you know what's nice these days is you can go onto the website and you just Google Aleene's Tacky Glue and they will tell you what stores sell it. So you can find out before you travel all over heck and be gone looking for something. They'll tell you who sells it, where you can find it. I love this lace, and it has hearts all over it. And I'm all about the heart. Okay, so when you get to the end, I'm going to have to cut that off. Cut my heart in half, and then let's meet it up. Because isn't that just fortuitous that the heart should meet up? I'm going to put some glue under there because I don't want the fabric to fray. So if I go and just put some glue under here, and then you'll see it already started fraying. There's some stuff called fabric fusion, which is like a fabric stiffener that you can use to help the fabric not to fray. I'm just going to do that for now. This way here, it won't be fraying. But there's our little lid. I just think it's so neat. Now, we had gold in our piece, right? Let me see if I can, this is kind of silvery and the bottom is too, but yet our piece has gold in it. And I need to blow dry that. So when you have a different metal, like you have gold here and you have silver there, and you don't like the contrast, I'm not always a person who likes mixing a lot of my metals. There's this DecoArt metallic luster. This particular one is called Gold Rush. And what I'm going to do with this one is take my finger once again and a little bit of gold, and I can change the color of the metal and make it gold. I can actually take the whole thing off and make the under part gold too. I can also rub some of this gold on my cover so it'll look like splashes of gold like in my napkin. And not that it is showing up too well right now. If I do this, it shows up better. Always on the angle. So I can rub some of that gold there and I can put it on the metal. You see how that changes that look? If you want more gold on the bottom piece, then if there's some white areas you want to tack a little bit more gold in there, you can just rub some of this on top. It's the only thing, after you decoupage, you gotta let it sit for overnight for it to really solidify. So you can do this on little boxes. You can do it on large boxes. That's what it is. I would paint the inside, but some people have done like a velvet. If you have some velveteen fabric you want to put in there, otherwise you can paint that right along, and then you can put some ridging on the inside. Let's see. I have this other material here that is gold and green. Let's see if I can get that up here. It's gold and green, the same color green. So after I paint the inside, on the inside of the bottom part, on the ridge, I can have one of these go around just the inside of the ridge. I wouldn't put it here because this won't fit. It won't slide over the bottom if it's on here. So what you do is you put it in here on this ridge, and that will finish that off. Really, I can't wait for this to dry. I really want this to dry so bad because I just think it is so adorable to have. I love everything about it. Obviously, I bought it. I wouldn't have bought it if I didn't love it, but I'll just rest it there for now. But isn't that going to be just to die for, I think? You don't want to handle the tissue paper too much while it's still wet because I start pulling it off. I start pulling it away from the box. So you don't want to do that. And if you do, you just take more decoupage and you just put more decoupage on there, and it will be all good. I just love creating on Cre8this, and we're going to be doing all different kinds of things. As you saw in my intro, we're going to do one day of using colored crayons to create something, and it's not your coloring like you did in, elementary school. We'll create something really awesome, a piece of art, colored pencils, things that don't necessarily require a lot of painting involved as well. We also here on Bubbler Media have a Patreon account that if you want to support me and Bubbler Media, that you can go to our Patreon account. It's patreon.com/bubblermedia, BUBBLR media. And that will help us to bring you more programming. There are a whole lot of different programs on Bubbler Media currently, and in the future will be even that many more. Gardening and cooking and inspirational programs like my friend Melissa Reyes with Inspiring Adventures. If you like to read books about inspirational events, people, places, she has a #1 top talk show about that, which is really awesome. That's on Tuesday nights. Thank you everyone for coming tonight. I hope that you try to create this at home, because I really think that it's an awesome project and it's a nice gift giving. Again, thank you for joining me this Friday night. I hope you have a wonderful Memorial Day weekend, and I hope you have fun creating this at home. Take care now.